Thank you. That was not in my wildest dreams, such a welcome. Ooh. Great. So let's get started. Everybody, please stand up. Yes, you heard me right. Please stand up. So look across the room and find a point for yourself where you want to focus on, one that draws your attention, one that's not moving. And we're going to look at that point for 1 minute, and I'm going to take the time for you. So look at that point, put your attention on it. If any thoughts come, let them pass. Control your breathing. Go a bit deeper and slower. In and out. In and out. And focus on your point. In and out. In and out. In and out. Okay, now look across the room again and find your seat. So what did I want to show you with this? Why did I do this? It is really a little demonstration of what we did at Fujitsu in the middle of our digital transformation, is to press that pause button just for a little moment and to focus, to recalibrate where we want to get to, what a digital mindset means for us. And I want to tell you today a bit about that journey that we went through and how we underpinned this by coaching. Before I get to this, let me share a bit about myself and how I fit into the picture here. So my name is Katrin Melzer, and I'm leading talent and learning at Fujitsu. So together with my team of 16 colleagues, I'm providing the space to our 4,500 employees in the DACH region to learn and grow. This introduction slide here is from a session on purpose carving that I did last year with our leadership teams. And it was a session really about what's our very own purpose. Why do we get out of bed every morning? Why do we do what we do? And how does that connect to our Fujitsu purpose of making the world more sustainable by building trust in society and innovation? And for me, you can see my 3 values up there. The first one is growth. I really want to see things growing. I want to help people to learn and to become a greater version of themselves. I want to get everybody unfold their full potential. And with what I'm doing at Fujitsu, that's really my sweet spot. Another one, my second one, is leadership. I want to create things, I want to shape things, and I want to do this together with others, with my team. My third one is joy. So I want things to be fun. I want us to come to work in a positive spirit. I want to have that spark in the eye. I want to say, hey, that's what I really want to do. So that's about me. I'm also a fan of agile approaches, design thinking. So I've been looking into design thinking quite early in my career, more than over 10 years back when I was working at the consulting firm Accenture with our design labs there. I'm a fan of agile approaches, so I've looked into that also very early when it came big in Germany. I'm a Scrum Master myself, for example. One of my teams that focuses on employee experience runs in a Scrum mode, which is probably also not that typical as in an HR function, so I love to try out new things. I'm a coach myself as well. I got my accreditation about 3 years back, and I'm leading our Fujitsu internal coaching pool, but I also coach externally, and I have the privilege to hold the relationship to CoachHub. So all topics very close to my heart. Fujitsu. We don't do cameras. Seriously, no cameras. We're an IT service provider. We're pretty big in the mainframe server, more the heavy infrastructure side of things. That's where you probably know us. And also, if you look at your workplace, you might know us from desktops, from laptops. But what you maybe don't know is that we're also growing in the area of digital and digital services. We have, for example, developed a quantum-inspired supercomputer, so that's where we're aiming to get to. And that is what brings me directly to the challenge that we faced. So basically, we had quite a need for transformation. So externally, there was a lot of pressure for us to transform ourselves in order to provide digital transformation services to our clients. And as you can imagine, coming from a more infrastructure-led business to a digital transformation partner, that is quite a stretch and quite a challenge. And that's what I want to share more on. Also, we were looking at, when it comes to digital, people had more in mind the technology, the methodology, but not so much in terms what we need to change when it comes to our thinking, our mindset. And I will get to that in a minute. Another thing or challenge was really that our learning muscle, our flexibility of unlearning, relearning wasn't stretched that much. So that was also something for us to learn, that going forward we will always need to learn new things. So that's the new normal for us, to learn new things. What I just said is summarized up here pretty well. So when we were figuring out what does it mean to be a digital transformation partner, everybody was more going on the technology side of things. So we need to know everything around cloud, around data science, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. So we need to nail all these topics. Methodology is the other layer. So we need to get Scrum certificated. We need to know everything about SAFe, about design thinking. And this is not wrong, but still there is a core in the mindset that needs to change for people. So it's basically not just knowing about the technology and the methodology, but also being able to have a thinking and a skill set that helps you foresee possibilities for your customers and help them to get somewhere they wouldn't think they would get to, and help them do their very own digital transformation. And in order for us to do that, we hit that pause button, we focused, we defined for us what is a digital mindset for us here at Fujitsu, what does that mean for us, and what do we need to do different every day. So we went out to the company and were asking people, our stakeholders, our customers, what does it actually mean to be a digital transformation partner? What do you want us to do differently? What behaviors do you want to see? And we distilled all that, plus took a survey across the population, across all our employees. So basically we crowdsourced what a digital mindset means for Fujitsu. And I'm going to share with you the 8 characteristics that we defined as our very own Fujitsu digital mindset. The first one is customer-centric. So really being in tune with your customer, driving their ideas forward, help them find their way, co-create. The second is visionary. So think big. The possibilities are really endless, so dare to dream and dare to think big. Experimental, try out new things. That doesn't always mean failing, but it's more about testing in a set environment. Test out your hypothesis and go from there. Fourth one, free to fail. So dare to go for growth opportunities and dare to do things not always perfectly from the very beginning. That's the only way how you will learn. And this fourth one, free to fail, is actually my favorite one. And why this is a bit contradicting, I'm going to tell you at the end of this talk. The fifth one, active learner. So recognize that learning something new is now part of your job. So you can't be going with the same things every day that you have been doing before. but you need to learn new things. You need to look into new technology, methodology available. You need to learn. And that's what we encourage our people at Fujitsu to do every day. The sixth one is trusting. So trusting means trusting people on a wider scale. So not just the ones you would instantly see, like your direct team, people you work with every day, but trusting as an organization. So trusting at an organizational level that you can rely on everyone. Value enabler. That very much links to Agile, always doing the things that add the most value first. So that very much fits into all those approaches. Digital enable, our last one. Really enable what you can through digital. And we basically came up then through that crowdsourced approach with those 8 characteristics. And in a second wave, we gave people the chance to measure their very own digital mindset. And this was done through an assessment that we did, and we developed it ourselves basically together with an agency. So I studied psychology, and I can tell you it's probably not the most scientific assessment you've ever seen when it comes to reliability or validity, but it is a starting point for thinking, and it's meant to be fun. So we wanted to draw people's attention to it. We want them to enjoy the assessment that they went through, and we wanted them to present with very positive results. So kind of appreciating where they are already in their transformation and making them curious and want to find out more. So I brought 3 sample questions, and I want to do them together with you to understand a bit how digitally minded you are already. So the first one is, and I'm going to translate them a bit away from Fujitsu, but more to a generic style so you can relate to your day-to-day business and to your own companies. So the first one is, you were really excited to be leading a local celebrity on a tour of your company so they can see all the brilliant things you do. But on the same day, your customer asked to deal with a big priority they have. So what are you going to do? A, rearrange the celebrity visit for another time. It must wait until you're available. B, ask any eager colleague to volunteer to conduct the tour. You know the visiting celebrity will be in safe hands and you can prioritize your customer. C, ask your closest colleague to conduct the tour and so you can go and see your customer. So just think of the last time you had maybe a situation where something urgent came in and you needed to deal with a conflict that you had there. So who's for A, rearrange the celebrity visit for another time? No one. B, ask any eager volunteer to do it. Okay, we have quite some hands. And C, ask your closest colleague to do it. Perfect, that also has quite some hands. So the idea is that when it comes to trusting, B is the most advanced, where you say, you know, we trust anyone to do it. What reality often shows, we ask the closest colleague to do it. So basically, next time you do it, think maybe, you know, could you also hand it to somebody that you didn't have in your mind at the very first time, but also trusting your organization that you would be doing it. The second one is you and your team have a great idea for a new bi-weekly Yammer post, and that will share information and insight with other teams. Right now, you're brainstorming what could be the best ways to measure the impact, and it's your turn to pitch an idea. What do? A, you wonder if it's a chance to use data science and experiment with some new measures. So you pitch this as a starting point. B, you mention your previous experience, but you also ask others for alternatives and their thinking. 3, you've done this kind of thing before, so you suggest to do the same, like before. Why would you reinvent the wheel? So just think again of a situation like that. So what would you do? A, data science and try things out. We have a few hands. B, mention your experience and ask for other options. Great, also some hands. And C, do the things that worked before. Why reinvent the wheel? Okay, we have not so many hands there. Okay, great. So basically what in the assessment, it's A would be scoring as the most digital one to use data science to figure out new ways, even though you wouldn't know how exactly they would play out. And the second best would be go on your previous experience, but also be open for other opportunities. Third and last one is morning coffee and some time to browse through the internet. You spot an article that asks for volunteers at an internal conference on a topic you're familiar with. What do? A, immediately volunteer. You haven't done something like this before, and it's a good chance to try out something new and challenge yourself. Besides, it will make you more visible and it will make your mom proud. B, keep browsing. You haven't given a presentation like that before, and there are probably other people that are suited better anyway. C, send an email to the article's author asking whether you can find out more. You're not sure about presenting, but it might be a good try. And after all, it might look good on your CV. So who's for A, immediately volunteer? We have a few hands up. B, keep browsing, somebody else will be suited better. And C, send an email to the article's author, some hands as well, great. Perfect, yeah, so I mean, send an article to the author is the second best one, so you're already moving to a digital mindset. A, immediately volunteer, and you're gonna find out as you go. So basically, as I said, it's our very own assessment. It's meant to be fun. It's probably not the most scientific one, but it gets you thinking, and it gets you to discuss with others. And based on your assessment, you would get a score in a spider web, and you would see the areas where you're already very strong in, and you would see areas where there's a bit of room for you to still grow. And with that assessment result, we went into learning labs. So with your team, you would take 90 minutes per topic, and we were recommending to take 3 topics that you say, as a team, we want to work on. And you would block out your calendars, go into the learning lab for 90 minutes, choose the characteristics you want to work on, so for example, free to fail. You would then decide what behavior do we want to be different tomorrow. So what is what we want others to see when it comes to what's different tomorrow, and then you would come into a solutioning mode, first ideation, you would go off to research, get deeper into the topic, you would come back together, reiterate, get a second thinking on your solution, and you would then have a plan, an action plan, what you want to do different already, and it was very hands-on, very action-oriented, so you would actually do something different already that day, and you would keep monitoring it together with the team. There was also an opportunity to do it by yourself. For example, if you had very different scores than the others from your team, and you would want to do more than the 3 topics you agreed with the team, or you had just a different one. Also, if you wanted to do it very early already, or you would do it with another group of people, people were free to do that, so it was basically available for them to be used as needed. As it's always very important, as you probably all can tell the story about, to involve your senior leadership teams and make them experience these kind of things, we developed a bit of a more formal structure for our senior leadership team. And this we did together with CoachHub and underpinned it by coaching. So now I said it because you're already probably asking yourself, when does she finally talk about CoachHub? Now. So let me tell you that story. It goes back 4 years ago when I started with Fujitsu, and I had an email coming in from our former head of HR saying, can you look at this? They do something with coaching people on digital skills. Maybe that's something that we need. And I was looking at the email and we're going, yeah, they do coaching through, coaching on any topic, but they do it through a digital channel. And that will still be very interesting to us, because back in the time, 4 years back, we had coaching mainly for our exec population, and it was, you know, their very own trusted coaches, a pool of set coaches without, you know, a lot of disruption, for getting new faces in, new coaches in, and also for the more mid-management, lower management or individual contributors, we didn't have too much. So that's why we thought this might still be interesting. And I was also back at the time refreshing a journey for our leaders that become team leaders for the very first time. So people that move from individual contributor to a first level leader. So moving into a leadership role for the very first time. And back then we had mainly face-to-face journeys. So people would go somewhere, you know, 3 days, they would learn everything about leadership, and then they would go off their job, and probably they didn't integrate too much into their daily work, which is why back then we, you know, I designed a 6-month journey out of different face-to-face and digital events, so a hybrid or blended journey, and I wanted to underpin that with coaching. So basically, from that email, we were reaching out to Mr. Daniel Breitwieser, hi, Daniel, and we were having just a conversation in Frankfurt, and they were sharing, so he was sharing what they actually do, and, you know, back at the time I was thinking, you know, what could possibly go wrong with just doing a pilot and see how people like it. So I added it to our leadership journey, our Ready to Lead journey, people moving to a first leader role, and we just tried it out. And the feedback was very positive. They liked the one-to-one interaction, the focus on their very own topics and challenges that they have, that they can discuss somebody, and where they get to new thinking, new ideas. So ever since then, and the feedback that we got, we've prolonged every year our contract, and we're using it in many different cases. So the first one where it all started with our Ready to Lead journey. The second case, we've been using it just a few months after that, is our journey for high potential people that are in a lower management role, and we want to move them to a step ahead into a mid-manager role, and also professionals that do not lead a team, but they're very in-depth techies on a professional career track, and sometimes they do not know where they're going yet. So we have different journeys for leaders, but for these population, we just know they are high potential people, and we want them to move in some direction, but we don't know where yet, and they don't know where yet. Therefore, we've created an 18-month journey, so 1.5 years, which is pretty long actually, right? Where people go into that program. They have some formal events, but it's really more about interacting with their line manager, with their sponsor, and looking over their plate and finding out together with the coaches, as coaching is one key part of that journey, what's the next right step for them. And it's not always, you know, an upward career progression, so just taking the job of your boss, basically. So it's really laterally, so going somewhere completely different. And in many cases, the people that are in that program, especially the ones more on the technical tracks, so our professionals, they have gone into different directions that weren't clear before and shaped these roles for them, as our business is changing quite fluently. If you know Fujitsu, we're moving things quite often, so this also gives a lot of room and chances and opportunities for people, and together in the coachings they find out what that is. Our third journey, and this is just we're just initiating that, is our journey for people we want to move to VP positions. So successors that are on the verge to a VP role. And this is not just a normal program, it's more a membership. So you sign up for 2 years, you get nominated, and you're 2 years of a membership in that leadership circle. There are formal events like a leadership conference where we bring them all to one place globally. But then you do your very own portfolio. So you have coins, a number, you know, of coins available that you can spend in any way you like. So together with your development partner and your sponsor, you would define what is the next best thing, how I can learn, and you can spend it on, a business school course that you want to attend, on a conference, and on coaching, and so much more. So it's very individualized journey here. And the one I want to talk about today, just wanted to share a bit, what are we doing with coaching at Fujitsu. The one I want to share today a bit more is our journey for those senior leaders on the digital mindset, where we said, for those people, we want to offer them a bit of a more structured, formal journey to go through. So basically, we said we will do 3 learning labs together with them. So for the leadership teams, we have a kickoff session. And in that session, we work together, what of the 8 characteristics do you want to focus on? So pick 3. And they could, for example, take customer-centric, visionary, and value-enabler. So that's a live example from one of the leadership teams that focuses on those 3. So we basically would come in, facilitate those 3 sessions for them, 90 minutes each, and at the end we would do a closure. We underpinned that with coaching because people have just very different needs or are on different ways or points within the journey. So we underpinned that by a 6-month coaching. And at the beginning we had the onboarding, so we were basically sharing what is coaching, who is CoachHub. We introduced them to what potential questions could be, but also then it was very much the work between the coach and the participant to go onto the topics. We twisted also the focus areas that CoachHub normally offers to our 8 characteristics. So the coaches were specifically briefed on these topics. I mean, everyone who's a bit in coaching knows that the conversation can go, in any direction once you're in the session, but they were briefed on the focus topics so they would know what these people were talking about and where they want to get to. And we also encouraged the leaders to do it with their wider teams. So basically they would experience the session once in a facilitated way, us facilitating with the leadership teams, and then with their very own team, we asked them to take 3 focus topics as well and to do the same session with their team. So once you experience it and once you go into a facilitation mode yourself. Plus, we did a communication around it. We had articles, we had Yammer posts, we had videos, so we were making quite a bit of movement around the topic of digital mindset and those learning labs happening. And we also surveyed the team, so we wanted to know from the direct reports of the teams, what is now different? Do they actually behave different? And what do you now do different with your customers? So to actually also look into that angle. I mentioned a bit already on the customization, so just want to share a bit more. So basically we had our customized pool of coaches that was briefed, so everybody would know what the characteristics was. So it was a subset of the coaches that CoachHub has in their pool that would know specifically about Fujitsu and the characteristics. We had a customized framework. So our digital mindset initiative had a certain branding, and we would also see that within the CoachHub platform so that it felt like one initiative and not that you're using, different types of things, but that it's making sense and that it's all one unique experience if you look at it from a learner lens. We also adapted the focus areas, so you wouldn't see the regular ones if you know the CoachHub platform, but you would see the very specific Fujitsu ones. And we adapted our own analysis, so the survey we wanted to do after, and also embedded it in the platform. Plus, we were having learning nuggets on digital topics that the coaches could pull and provide to the coachees. So a very, targeted initiative for us to help our people grow in the digital mindset. Looking a bit at the evaluation, so what did people pick, as I was particularly interested in that? So most of them went on visionary, customer-centric, active learner, free to fail. And what I really loved to see was that digital enabler was the last. So not many people choose digital enabler, where before everybody said, we need to change the technology. We need to know everything about the technologies out there. We need to know all the methodologies. We all need to get familiar with these topics. And then to get to the core of things, people were engaging more in topics like visionary, customer-centric, and changing their very own mindset. The coachee evaluation is just a standard question after every session is, how do I feel that coaching will help me to achieve the desired changes for myself? And with the 4.7 out of 5 with the leadership teams, I think that's quite a good score. And also we had quite a number of people approaching us and were saying, my 6-month coaching is over, but I have so many things still to discuss. Can I prolong it? So we had some cases where we kind of said, we're going to add you another 3 months or potentially more. So that was very much appreciated to have that focus point to recalibrate and to discuss the topics with somebody, with all the movements that we have in these fast-pacing times around us. So what I would recommend to you if you ever go through such a journey where it's around digital mindset or something else is to involve your people, define that target state. So for us, we define what a digital mindset truly is. So what does it mean for us? Because it might sound quite abstract to some people, so they wouldn't necessarily know, what do I do different tomorrow? And by defining that already was the first initiative, actually, by defining what it is where we want to get to. You're already going a bit there, so everyone who's a bit more in coaching, that first session you do with your coachee where you talk about the goal that they want to get to, already is often already an action in itself. So taking a very purposeful, resource-oriented approach. So we wanted to, that people get drawn by that, not that we're pushing and say you have to do it and you're only here and you need to go there, but that it feels very good for people to be on that journey and that it's okay to ride on that wave and to get there in the end. And everybody brings so much to the table already, so why not tell them you're bringing so much already and this is where we additionally want you to get to and this is how we're going to help you go there. Provide different options. So I'm a fan of providing different options, providing a buffet. Not everyone likes the same things. Somebody likes the scrambled eggs, somebody wants them hard-boiled, I don't know what. So provide a buffet to people so they can pick from and choose whatever is right for them. And in the best case, have different types for different learner styles. So in this initiative, we didn't do that too much, but what we also sometimes do is that we provide something for more vision, people that where it works through the vision, others it works more through auditive channels, so that you just have options to pick from and that nobody has to do all 8 characteristics, but you just do the ones that make sense for you and that will help you do the next step. Make senior leadership experience that change, my favorite one. So always get the people that are in power of things, get them experience the change themselves, because you can do so much talking, but it still doesn't land if somebody hasn't experienced it. And I think with that, we did a very good step in making people feel and experience how, what's actually different today and what will we change. And last week, funnily, I have to tell you, I went into one of these leadership teams to present a different initiative. And I had, just inside of myself, I had to laugh so hard because it was a completely different topic. And somebody was saying, is this now the follow-up for the digital mindset? And one side of me was going, how can you think that? It's a completely different topic. But the other one was saying, yeah, it's great that it's so anchored in their minds because they have been going through that. Why don't I just find a quick bridge for them how this topic and this topic can relate so that they buy into that as well? And I found, a bit of a vague bridge, but I found it eventually. So it already, sits with them, which is great to see that after quite some time. The last one is build a true partnership. So what we did with CoachHub is really to sit together on a table, discuss what we want to achieve, and they brought in quite a lot of different people. So we had a behavioral scientist coming in, talking a bit more about assessment and the underlying things. We had customer success manager coming in. We had people in the back that adjusted the coloring, the branding, and made it all work for us. We had the coaches that were briefed. So really come with your challenge and go in a co-creation mode together with your provider and work on that together so that in the end you will get to the best fit for you. So to sum up, I promised I'd share my aha moment. And my aha moment was really when I saw my chart. Because free to fail was the one that pulled me most, because just free to fail to me is freedom. It's light, it's non-judgmental. And then when I opened mine, this was the worst score of the whole thing. And I was like, why is that? And it just got me thinking, it's hard work to change your mindset. So it depends on so many different things. It depends on your very own preferences. And if you're more up for making things perfect, making things right, if you're more grown up in an environment where certain behavior is appreciated and other behavior is not appreciated, that might have an effect for you. Maybe you're working in an organization or a system that just says on paper, that's what we want to do. But then things are not, if you actually behave like that, it's not picked up like that. So many different influences. And since I saw that chart here, I made it my personal mission to provide growth opportunities. So for myself, but also for others around me. And defining it as a growth opportunity where things can go wrong. It might not be 100% the first time, and that's okay. It's okay if you fail and learn, because you'll be learning faster. And also be kind to yourself and to others and allow for those growth opportunities. And basically at Fujitsu, being aware of what our digital mindset characteristics are, where we stand, every individual, but also as an organization, and knowing what behaviors we want to show tomorrow, that is what will help us in our continued journey to a trusted digital transformation partner.